It's Professor Homa. I'm back for part 2 of Intro to Access. We're working with the inventory, the Internet Cafe inventory, and we're working in the suppliers table right now. And the last thing we did is we went into our design view, which right now this is Datasheet View. Datasheet View shows our full database and it allows you to make entries. Down here, these are entries or our records. Up top are our fields. Now when we want to edit our fields or add new fields, even though you can add new fields in this view, to set up their properties or your specifications for the fields, you have to go in Design View. I'm going to go back into Design View, and up here at the top I'm going to go down to Design View, and this is where we see our properties for each field, not just data type but also more specific properties down at the bottom. And what I'm going to do in Design View is I'm going to add a new row above Contact. So I'm going to go to Contact right here. I'm going to go in this field, and I'm going to go up here at the top where it says Insert Rows, and I'm going to insert a row. So I'll just click on this button, I'll insert a row, and I'm going to call this Date of FP, Date of First Purchase, since we're talking about suppliers here. So we know when we started dealing with that particular supplier. For data type, it goes to text by default. I'll just leave it. Actually, I'm going to go to date time for this one. Date time, because we're going to put in a date here, but even more specifically when I'm on this field, I could go down here where I have format in my field properties, and if I go way over here to this little drop down, I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose short date. Short date, you can see down here, will make it appear as a numeric date, but it will use the 4 digits for the year. So I'm going to choose short date, and that's going to be my format. So date time could get formatted more specifically to be short date down here, and that's all I'm going to need to do in. And I could put a description here. Over here I could put a description, and if nobody knew what date of FP meant, I'll just put date of first purchase with the supplier. You know, that's just a note for the person working on the database. So that's not something, you know, so if there's different people working with this database, that's just a description of what that field means if they had any questions. So I'm going to go back to Datasheet View, and it will ask me to save this table first. So every time you do this, you have to save. Now I'm back in Datasheet View, and you can see now I have a date of FP, and I'm just going to put a date in here. I'll just put 11 22 11 22 01, and even if I put 01, when I hit return, it will put the date with the 2001. So it will put the 4-digit date, which you'll see a lot with dates now on computers. If you wanted to, just for now, what we did in class is I just went in here and I just did a copy. You could right-click copy, and you could just right-click paste. I'm just going to put the same date in these for now, just to fill up these fields. Or you could do Control-V. So you could go down and do Control-V. You cannot highlight multiple fields and do Control-V like you can do in Excel. So you have to do this one at a time. Control-V, 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 Control-V. Alright, so that's what we did on the sheet. That's Intro to Access sheet. Another thing, one last thing we did on here that I'll squeeze in here that we did with the Intro to Access. It was number 10 on the bottom. What we did a find and replace. And we did it in Datasheet View. We went to this street field. And you see how it says ST period, BLVD period, AVE period. What we did in here is we did a find and replace. Find and replace is right up here till find. And if I click on here, I could find what? And I could look for street, and I could say look in current field, and I want to say any part of field. So if it says whole field, it'd be looking a whole field that said ST, but I just want part of the field that says ST. And then I could go to replace, and if I type in what I want to replace, I'll just hit replace all, and I'll hit yes, and you can see that it replaced all the ST periods with street periods. Now I could go through and do the same thing with RD period and change it to road, AVE period, change it to avenue, any of that. But there's no need to go through that now. I could just keep typing it in and hit replace all each time and replace all these values so their abbreviated values become their full values if they want. So that's the last thing that we did on this Intro to Access. So I'll stop it right there. But again, just a quick little intro, and we'll review some things with our next exercise. But this was our first exercise that we did in class, and it's all covered on the Intro to Access handout.